my personal opinion and belief is that context matters. The context that an ad is viewed in, I believe, does matter for a variety of reasons. And I think our media owner clients certainly would agree. And that's how they pitch their audience. They believe that television, in particular, is a more suitable medium to a lot of advertising messages than some of the digital media, whether it's because of an association with a particular program, whether Big Bang Theory or NCIS or whatever it is. You've got a great audience that is engaged and you can capture them in that moment. It's also sort of clean, well-lit space on TV, whereas in digital there's some concern about where who the audience is and whether the ad is actually being seen and those types of things. And then engagement. When you're on a digital medium, you may be forced to watch an ad, but you can certainly flip away to a different tab in your browser or close out of an app or what have you. But on TV, you sort of, while you could potentially skip the ads, if you're watching something live, you're more likely to see it. Dynamic creative at an individual level, I think, is science fiction. There are certain things that would lend itself to that, and I think if you look at retargeting, that's a form of it, right? When you go and shop for something online, and then you go to a website that puts an ad in front of you that is the exact same thing that you just bought, that is a form of that individual creative. It's dynamically putting together something that was in or is in your shopping cart and feeding it to you. But I think the creative that you're asking about and we're thinking about here is sort of the, that 30-second spot or that banner ad targeting you in particular. And I think between the number one, the scale, it makes it very, very difficult to do and extremely costly. And number two, the privacy factor. I have a hard time imagining as a consumer getting an ad that says, "Hey, Eric, would you like to buy X, Y, and Z, or what do you think?" I think that goes beyond the pale when you start talking about individuals' privacy, and I don't think it would work all that well. So I'm skeptical on that one. The other issue is, quite frankly, when you talk about addressability on television, right now you're talking about the household level. So you could do maybe a household targeted ad, but when you're talking about getting down to the creative, I have a hard time envisioning it. With our digital and total ad ratings products, we have the ability to measure viewability, which is through a partnership with Integral Ad Science. And that's useful, I think. And it's part of that notion of understanding the environment in which the ad was placed and whether you're getting more or less likely to get a human who's looking at it and what the engagement and so forth might be. And when you talk about viewability and fraud, what we're measuring is what's actually delivered. I think fraud is an issue that, frankly, the publishers and the platforms should be working toward reducing or eliminating, but it's extremely hard to do. And so I think it makes sense to make the requirements more stringent and try and do whatever we can as an industry to ensure that whoever is viewing an ad is an actual person. Not a robot, that they do actually have the opportunity to see it and engage with it. And then it's up to us to measure that reach and then whether they did anything after having seen the ad.
Do you think that the fraud piece in particular will disincentivize people to going towards a digital creative medium?
I think it may be a contributing factor to why digital isn't even bigger than it is today. Because you're not always assured that there will be a person on the other end. And frankly, with the ad blocking, you're not sure that your ad will actually be seen. And so those are issues. I mean, from a measurement standpoint, if the ad isn't actually served up, we don't count it. So there's not an issue in terms of paying for something you didn't get. But if the belief is that everybody is blocking ads, and you can't get your message in front of people on digital, then yes, I would think you're more likely to go back to television where you don't have ad blockers.